In this video, we're going to show you the progress we've made on our porch. Our focus has been on stripping paint from the doorway, eliminating the awnings, adding a stunning stained glass transom, and finally, we've enlisted the expertise of a local professional to restore the capitals, a few of which were damaged or missing. Hi and welcome back. While it might be bright and sunny out today, it really looks like it's a beautiful day. Let me turn the camera around and show you, but it is super cold. Boy, it's bright. Today we're going to talk about updates and changes that we're doing on the porch. Specifically, we've been working on the capitals that were behind the awnings, and some of the capitals were sliced off during the installation of the awnings that were put on around the porch and on all the windows of the house, and we've had them repaired. We've been working with our friend Kevin with Bigfoot Restoration, and we had him make a mold. He made a mold of the part of the capital called the volute, which is the scroll part of the capital. And you look up there, you can see those scrolls at the top. And he made molds, and then he replaced all the volutes that had been cut off or damaged. We're also going to show you some stuff about the transom window. We put in a new stained glass window. If you look at the up here above the windows, there's both the original corbel supports for the hooded roof, as well as the corbel support for this porch that was added in probably around 1900. And I think if I turn around this way, you can probably get a better look at that. That's the porch corbel. Of course, there's one on each side of this bigger porch, but if we go way around here and look at the doorway, then there's two of the corbels because they had a hood. And again, if you come around here, if I pull around and show you some of the houses across the street, you might be able to see that they have hoods over the doors. Some of them have porches, but others just have hoods over the doorway. So we're going to keep the corbels that held up the hood over the doorway because they were nicely integrated into the porch roof. As I've mentioned in the past, we love digging into the history of this house and the changes that were made over time. Not just out of curiosity, because it also allows us to consider what changes we will undo and what changes we'll leave alone. It is likely that when the Wilson sisters bought the house in 1884, there was no porch. We believe the house was built as a typical Italianate of the era, which were common in Wheeling at the time, and the front porch was likely added 10 or 15 years later. And why do we think that? Well, since the house is an Italianate design with flat roof lines, deep eaves supported by corbels, and the narrow 2/2 windows. In contrast, the porch is done in the Greek Revival style. The Greek Revival style can be identified by its columns, pediment over the entryway, with Ionic columns and Scamozzi style capitals. Given these large corbels around the doorway, it is likely that the house had a hooded entry, which was later modified into a full porch. Before we get into this, let me just say thank you again for watching. We really appreciate your support. Please like the video and subscribe to our channel. It really helps. And we'd also love to hear your feedback, so please leave some comments below and let us know what you think. The awnings were probably installed in the late 40s after the Wilson sisters had passed away. A design theme that we use to guide our approach is to keep the changes to the house, both interior and exterior, to things that would have been done during the period in which the original owners lived in the house. Specifically, this means the period from 1884 to 1943. This means that we feel free to decorate and design in any style during that period. As a result, any changes made after 1943, like the awnings, we will work to reverse. Throughout the projects at Chaplain House, we follow the guidelines of historic preservation. One of those guidelines is to restore a feature whenever practical, and when restoration is not possible or practical, to use salvage materials that match the originals. And then as a last resort, if salvaged materials are not available or cannot be found, the guidelines recommend replacement of the original feature with reproductions. Following these guidelines, we have decided to restore the existing capitals by making molds of the volutes and recreating and attaching replacement pieces. Since one of the columns was coming apart, we removed that column for the restoration. The base of that column was rotted beyond repair, so a new base was fashioned. After the storm windows were removed, Maddie got to work stripping the paint from the entryway.
Yesterday morning, it had been 24 hours since we applied this paper, so I went ahead and started to peel it back. Once I pulled it away, I realized I may have wanted to leave it on a little longer because it was still pretty wet and didn't quite get all the layers, but by the time I realized that, there was no putting it back, so I just rolled with it. Then on the next section, I figured I would just wait a little bit longer, and that's what I did. And while this one wasn't wet, it still didn't get quite all the layers of paint. But honestly, that is okay. The plan here is to paint these again anyway. There just were so many layers of paint just globbed on here and thick drips, and all of this detail was filled in with paint. That's really what I'm trying to get off anyway. So there's a couple more sections that I'll leave on a little longer because I just applied them yesterday morning. And then once everything is dry, I'll probably do a little bit of sanding, and then we will get them all painted up.
In order to bring back the beautiful front entryway and prepare it for painting, Maddie and Ellie removed the aluminum storm doors that covered both the doors and the transom window above. When they removed the storm window at the top, they made two discoveries: porcelain house numbers and an original transom window that was obscured glass in a Florentine pattern. As a tribute to the history of this home and its beauty, we used the original Florentine glass within the new stained glass transom window that we had created by a local artist. To create the stained glass transom window, we worked with local artist Kelly of Rust Belt Stained Glass.
Okay. Looking at glass.
So this gutter fell off, and it's a good thing that I ordered rain chain because I didn't like the look of that gutter anyway. So we will bring the rain chain and bring the water straight down to a vessel in the garden here, which will then drain out into the yard.